Hi, everybody. This is Heather Clark with Running Totally Free. I am inviting you into my day today as I spend the day practically making the changes in our home as we transition from one grade to another as a homeschooling family, and as I also make some decisions about one curriculum to another. We have shared in the past that we are a homeschooling family, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's one of the I guess more difficult things for me to open up to you about. Even though homeschooling is probably at its most, what do I want to say? It's most popular. It's more popular than it's ever been. There still are some strong feelings out there, even amongst people that I, spend time with, talk to, are part of my world, in regards to their opinions about it. And, we all, those of us who are parents and have children, we all feel a weight, I guess, on our hearts, on our minds, on our shoulders to make important decisions about the education of our children. And we all have a desire to do the right thing on behalf of our kids. And that responsibility weighs heavily on us. So I think as parents, there can be, as there is in so many areas, a sense of comparison, and because we all are wanting to do the right thing by our children, and so we tend to compare ourselves to one another to just kind of check to see if we're doing the right thing. And schooling is definitely one of those areas where parents tend to compare. And so I just want to say that just because we homeschool doesn't mean that we are saying that we're making the decision that is better than everybody else. Because I think there are people out there who think that homeschoolers think they're better than everyone. We have a lot of reasons, and I would say that the reasons increase every year as to why we homeschool. And I'm not going to spend this time talking about every single reason why we homeschool. It has been very, very convenient for us in regards to Michael's particular type of his line of work, for us to be homeschoolers. Michael manages at a restaurant, and so his job, the hours that he works shift quite a bit, and they tend to be in the late afternoon and evening. And a traditional school schedule usually has a child or children in school in the early morning through till mid-afternoon, and then unless they're in school sports or some other type of school activity, then they come home. So there was always the the knowledge, and at least comparing to our own childhood experience, that any children we had were going to come home around the time that he would be leaving to go to work. So we didn't want for our children to feel like they never got to see their dad. So that was a major part of our decision-making process. We also, coming from a Christian worldview, really wanted that Christian worldview to play a major role in the curriculum choice that was made for our kids. So that played a big role in what we wanted for our kids' education. So that also played a role in our decision to homeschool. What probably made it a little easier for us to choose homeschooling in regards to, for me, because I basically do all the schooling. And that's not the case for all homeschooling families. In some homeschooling families, the father teaches some of it, if not all of the material. my past experience, I'm a sociology major and a political science minor. And though that was the case, when I graduated from college, I actually went into teaching in private Christian schools and taught first, second, combined. I taught a little bit of third. I taught fifth and sixth combined. And I also taught eighth grade and a little bit of some seventh grade subjects. Yeah. So it was not unfamiliar for me to take curriculum and create a lesson plan and, develop a school year for children. So for me to do that for my own kids didn't have so much of a fear factor. However, I will say, when it's your own children and you are responsible for them to learn how to read, holy moly, you do feel that weight of responsibility. And so there was a lot of fear when I started. So that gives you a little bit of information in regards to why we're homeschoolers. If you have any more questions about that, please message us, because we'd love to talk with you about it. And if there's more in regards to the decision-making process that you'd love to know about, please message us, because we'll talk about it more in future vlogs. But I wanted to touch on that first. So what does a day in the life of a homeschool mom look like? Well, I shared in my previous vlog that we do homeschool year-round, and we started that last summer. And I just felt like for my kids, it was a better match to their personalities, a better match to my personality, honestly, for us to have just some kind of schedule all of the time, some kind of, loose form to our days. And I just function better that way. I'm more of a type A personality, so I like some sense of organization. That makes me feel a little more calm and in control, calm, cool, and collected. And that has worked out really well for us. I really do like that year-round schedule. So I have been teaching year-round, but we still have to transition from one grade to another. So Abby will be transitioning into third grade this year, and Noah will be transitioning into seventh grade this year. And as I said in my previous vlog, in Georgia, that's the school year starts in August, so that's coming up. So we will be technically beginning those grades in August. And I have been Michael gave me some time. As you can see, no one's floating around in the background here. It's been very quiet. Oh, I love it. It's so weird because usually I'm like making sure there's nothing on the floor that Gabe can get into, and it's been weird. I'm like kind of twitching a little bit, Anyway, so I have been in the past couple days, but particularly yesterday and today, really, really getting serious about looking at the curriculum choices that I have, and really narrowing down and making decisions about what I'm going to use this year. So there are some curriculum choices from last year that I liked and will continue to use this year. So if you are a homeschooling family, please don't feel like we have like the end all and be all of decision. We know what's best, because as you know, if you've been homeschooling for any length of time, what tends to happen is you'll start with like one curriculum, and then you'll realize that your child's learning style is maybe your child is more of a visual learner versus an auditory learner. So you find that one curriculum really doesn't work for your child, so you move on to something else. And that's basically what I've found over the years. And I've also found that no two children are alike. And you guys know that even if you don't have your kids at home learning. You know that just from, being in school, whether it's, Christian school or public school, whatever. You're noticing that. So my children are very different. So curriculum that I held on to after Noah, thinking, well, maybe this will work with Abby, there's some things I'm realizing, I'm just going to sell it, because by the time we get to Gabe, you know, it may not even be good for him. So if it just happens that, oh, that would have worked for him, I'll just buy it again. No big deal. So being the thrifty person that I am and trying to get my my school supplies envelope money to stretch as far as I possibly can, I have sold some things, and I'm going to have to sell some more curriculum. I'm finding out that I have you know, waiting to be sold in order to get what I need for this coming school year. So if you are a homeschooler, I will, I'm going to get my phone real quick and tell you about, if you didn't know about this website already, there's a website that is called Homeschool Classifieds, and I'm sorry this is so small, but oh no, it's not going to show up at all. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe if I get it closer. There we go. Homeschool Classifieds. I change the angle, maybe that'll help. At the top, you can look by alphabetical order or by subject category, such as like art and music, baby and infant, biography, math, language arts, and so on. So, you know, there's different ways to look. You can also look by state for groups and activities. That's pretty cool, and I really haven't used it for that, but you can do that. And so there are other homeschooling families, and even some homeschooling families even have like little mini companies where they sell homeschool curriculum, and they will list homeschool curriculum here. And so it's used, some of it's new, some of it's very worn, some of it's just in good condition, and you can purchase material this way. And I do that. I also use eBay, and sometimes I even use Amazon if I can manage to find it on there. There's also another resource called Rainbow Resources, and you can buy material new from them. I don't think they have used material. Through Amazon, just like with anything else, you can sometimes get used material through them. So you'll just look for used books as well. So those are some resources that you can use for your curriculum. Right now, I guess it really wasn't a mistake. This is called the Institute for Excellence in Writing. Even some school systems use this. And this is by Andrew, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Padu, I don't know. Anyway, I purchased this a couple months ago, and it has DVDs, and it's a teaching style for teaching writing to your kids. And I'll tell you, I started watching it yesterday, and it's awesome. And I finally feel like this is a good match for how I'm going to teach my children to write. It's better than other ways that I've tried to use in the past, and I'm so thrilled with it. However, I thought this was also, I can use this and just apply it to anything, any part of our curriculum. But I really like something that kind of holds our hand a little harder. So I'm going to have to order some more. So that's what we're going to use for writing. They also have a program which I had not heard of before, but I'm going to try it this year, called Fix It Grammar. And basically what happens is each day, just in like 15-minute increments, you teach a lesson in grammar, and then you take a sentence, and then you fix it. And you use what you learned in grammar that day and what you've learned previously in previous weeks, and you apply it to that sentence. And then the teacher helps you go over it. And there's a couple other things that go on, but that's like the general idea. So that's what we're going to use for grammar. And then there is, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm of the opinion that that people are either natural spellers or they're just not spellers. However, I was listening to Andrew P., we'll call him Andrew P., and he was discussing the spelling issue. And he feels that the reason why some people have such trouble with spelling is that they are more auditory learners. And he has a special program for auditory spellers that he thinks helps break through people who have the trouble that some people have with spelling. So I'm going to try his method with the speller in my family who has a real hard time. And we're going to give that a go. So I will be using that for spelling. In math, we have been using teaching textbooks with Noah, which is this, and I love this. There's a teacher who he watches on here. He watches what he's doing on the chalkboard, basically, but it's like a cartoon character kind of thing. It's hard to describe. Anyway, he's doing fantastic with it. I'm going to try it with Abby, but I'm going to be sitting with her, and I'm going to see how it goes. Like I said, there's different learning styles, and she's really, really strong in the writing and grammar and all that kind of thing. However, math is more of her weakness. So I think she needs a little more hand holding. So we're going to give that a go and see what happens. So we're going to try teaching textbooks with her as well and see what happens. So that's math. We have been using a curriculum called Sunlight, and I'm going to show you their catalog. This is their catalog. And basically for history and Bible and reading or literature, they cover all those topics. And what they do, which I think is awesome, is they also kind of incorporate like geography and the timeline of history and what's going on biblically with the other parts of what's going on in the world in history. And then they use historical fiction to teach history. And I don't know about you, but I found history so utterly boring growing up. I hated it. It was just memorizing dates and facts. And now as an adult, I love history. And Sunlight is so good at teaching history through historical fiction. And so we've been using this the past year, and we're going to continue to use it this year. So now we're getting into medieval history and going into like the Reformation and so on. So we're just going to continue on with that. However, I will say, because there's such a divide, there's such a, there's such a large amount of years between Abby and Noah. Sometimes the read alouds that they use, they have readers that Noah reads on his own, and then I have Abby reading on her own, just some fiction to give her practice, and we go over comprehension. But the read alouds where I read to them and we talk about what we're reading, a lot of it's been very boy interest oriented. So I'm thinking, though, she'll probably listen to some of that. I may also use a curriculum called Drawn into the Heart of Reading. They have a book list of girl interest books that I may incorporate into Abby's education this year, because she loves to read. I mean, loves it. And she loves to talk about stories. I mean, this girl has such a strong recall, such a great imagination. So I really want to draw that out in her. So that's a goal that I have with her. So that's something else I'm looking for as well. And then with Bible, this has been a great resource. We have been using this book called Proverbs People, and I've held on to this for such a long time, and I finally brought it out because I felt like it was time. And what we've been doing, though we read the Bible, at different times of the day, and we do devotionals at night. What's great about this is one by one, you go through the Proverbs and you talk about, right now we're talking about the fool and the different Proverbs that touch on different aspects of who the fool is. And so they take turns each day, reading that proverb, or maybe it will be 2 proverbs. And then I ask them to, to give me an idea of what they think it means. And what's great is we've been using dictionary skills because some of the words are above their head. So we'll write down some of the vocabulary words that we're learning and use and put those in, like some of the synonyms, and into the Proverbs to make it, a little easier to understand. Or sometimes we'll use other versions of the Bible. And so we're learning so much. And then we'll be able to apply that at other times of the day. Like, we'll say, well, how is that person acting like a fool? And they're able to apply that, what we're learning. So I still I'm feeling like, because of their age difference, I'm going to have to divide their devotions now. I was doing their devotions together, but I just think with Noah becoming a teenager and Abby being elementary age, they really need something just different now. So I'm praying about what that's going to be. So I think I've covered all the subjects. I have to make sure that I finish writing down all those topics. So as a homeschool parent, that's what I have to do. That's the process. I have to go through all the subjects. Oh, handwriting. Abby's she's learning cursive now. And Noah doesn't love cursive at all. He would prefer to print. And I know in the schools that cursive isn't even, I don't even think it's being taught anymore. I prefer, though, that my children do learn cursive. And the Andrew P. guy suggested for boys that if they don't love cursive, they really are fighting you on writing it, to have them learn calligraphy. Isn't that interesting? Because he said that handwriting is like artistry. And so he said with calligraphy, it slows down the hand because you really have to pay attention to the form. So I was thinking I might look up a calligraphy book. So if any of you guys know of a good calligraphy book, would you let me know? Because I haven't gotten to do much research on that one yet. So I was thinking he might actually enjoy that. Oh, and science. That's what I forgot. Science. Noah, as you know, is totally into plants right now. He's doing a square foot garden. So we are going to, ride that train, and he's going to be studying botany this year, as will Abby. So I'll be having her planting plants and studying, seeds, and we'll just do that together. And I think that'll be so much fun because they already have such an interest. So I'm really, really happy about that. So we'll be doing Apologias, Exploring Creation with Botany, which is a very, very popular curriculum company. I think that's how you say that. So that's kind of, the process that a homeschooling parent has to go through. Like I said, go through all the subjects, decide what we need to cover, make sure all our bases are covered. And then on a practical side, I have to figure out how to make homeschooling happen in our house. So for us, what we had decided to do last year was I was getting really tired of cleaning the table for lunch and dinner because we would use just one table for homeschooling and for eating. So we have 2 tables in our kitchen now, which has been such a lifesaver. So over here, which has all my school supplies right now that I purchased, is our eating table with no chairs around it so Gabe doesn't climb. And then we have a whiteboard which has our Bible memory verse that we're working on memorizing, and prayer requests. And then over here, which is a mess because I'm cleaning out. We have these Circo, they're super cute, They're library carts that I bought last year. You can buy them at Target. They're pretty good quality, not awesome, but pretty good. They're managing. We have 2 of them, and I'm cleaning them out right now. Unfortunately, Gabe, even though I stacked them in a special way, Gabe is now big enough to reach over. So like I said, there is a cart at IKEA that kind of matches that color, and it locks. It's like a filing cabinet with a lock. So I think I'm going to buy that, and I will put all like the pens and pencils that he's trying to eat. It's ridiculous. I'm going to put them in there, and then we'll just like put our books and stuff because he hasn't chosen to eat those yet. We'll leave those on the cart. And then I have a ton of books upstairs. That is, well, that's not all our homeschooling curriculum because it's everywhere right now. But we have a bunch of stuff upstairs in the office and some office supplies, things. It's like everywhere, guys. But I try to keep the main materials that we use every single day down here. And I like the carts because they have the casters so we can roll them around. Awesome. But we have this round table, which is just a mess. And that's usually where the kids do their school, at least their independent work. That's what we call it, their independent work that I assign. Usually in the morning they do their chores and they do their independent work, which is, often like handwriting and some math practice. What else? Some grammar practice, things like that. And we'll do lunch prep thing, and that happens there. We do our Bible time usually here, and we also have that whiteboard. And so the prayers that we had on the other list, we write our answered prayers and blessings that God has given us on that. And then we have a basket that usually has a couple Bibles in it. I don't know where the other ones are right now. And that Proverbs people, and we do that there. And then oftentimes, because sometimes we do read alouds. Well, I'm sorry, we do read alouds every day. We move to, what I meant to say is that we sometimes go outside and we'll read, we'll do our read alouds out at that homeschool area that Michael made for us, or we'll do it in the den. It just depends. And that's kind of how we move around as a homeschool family within our house. But I'm telling you, I just gleaned so much great information from this teaching with writings, or what was it called again? Teaching, writing, structure, and style. It was not just, but it was kind of like a seminar about education. So thus far, I also learned that I really need to be writing a lot more words. Have much more visual words up for my kids to see. And so I think I'm going to be adding some more whiteboards around, and I have to figure out where to put them. And see, I like spaces that are not covered. So this is really challenging for me because I don't know, guys, life has just gotten so crazy, so busy that I'm really enjoying not having as much furniture. I really have not put pictures up on the wall. My 2 whiteboards that have like the prayers and prayer requests and the answered prayers, and just keeping, my planning centers, in those more inconspicuous places. I kind of like that. So it's going to be a challenge for me to put more things up on the walls. That's just where I am, because I think I really am a visual person, so it's a little disturbing. I need areas of rest. Is anybody else like me out there? Does this mean I'm weird? I'm sorry. I must be weird. So we'll see. But the most important thing I got to figure out right now is just the rest of the curriculum choices so I can spend my money, make some money if I don't have enough yet, and make this transition in grade levels, and just get my house transitioned. I think that was it. So that's a look into our homeschool life, guys. It's really not that much different than what a teacher is doing. It's just we have fewer people. We get to talk about Jesus in our school, and you know, my kids are getting, basically they're getting tutoring and teaching at the same time. So, and we don't have to walk far for lunch. I don't have to pack lunches. We can wear pajamas, mommy included, to school. I can wear my workout clothes and do my laundry while I'm teaching. So I love that. We can have a fire in the fireplace while we're doing school. It's really great. I mean, there's so many wonderful parts to homeschooling. I mean, we have our moments where I want to wring their little necks, but I mean, you know what? All parents feel that way, whether, you know, no matter where your kids are for their education. So if you're thinking about homeschooling, you know, if that's something you're like, maybe that's something that's for our family and you're just a little nervous about, I don't know, about having your kids home that often, I don't think your kids will drive you any crazier than they do now, quite honestly. Because I think that's oftentimes, whether or not we want to admit it, you know, speak that out loud. I think a lot of times that's what parents are thinking. You know, you just have to do some self-care. You know, you might have to say to your husband or your wife, I got to take a trip up to Starbucks and just chill out for a minute because I'm stressing here. And that's okay. I've done that many, many a time with Michael. I've said, I got to back off right now because I'm frustrated and there's nothing wrong with this child. It's just me. I need to figure out a new way of teaching this, or of just realizing that this is just this age and this child just needs some time to, you know, to sometimes with kids, you know, they just need a couple months for their brains to develop. Like that's something I learned when I was teaching. So there's just, what do I want to say? Some myths about schooling at home that I think make people fearful that they don't need to be afraid of. So, all right, that's it, guys. I hope this was interesting, enlightening. It may have been boring. If so, I'm sorry. We can still be friends. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. And if you liked what you heard, please subscribe below, and we'll see you next time. Bye.